Hello, first grade friends, and welcome back to your final day, wrapping up our informative paragraph all about worms' enemies. In Earthworms, we learned that worms have multiple, or more than one, enemies. Write an informative paragraph, that teaching paragraph, to tell what you learned about worms' enemies. Be sure to use information from the pictures and words. Okay, so on Monday, we started by drawing our teaching picture. I decided I wanted to write about moles. Moles are interesting because they eat tons and tons of worms every day. And then the ones that they don't eat, they store in this underground pantry or tunnel. And then they bite off the heads of some of them so they can't escape. I just found that very interesting. I wanted to teach it to people. So after I drew my teaching picture, and you'll notice my beautiful labels and my realistic coloring, then I wrote a topic sentence that told my reader what I was going to teach them. I will teach you all about worms' enemies. Cool, now my reader knows, oh hey, she's about to teach us about worms' enemies. Then I actually taught them about worms' enemies with two teaching sentences. One fact is that moles are worms' biggest enemy. Another fact is that moles eat 30 worms a day. So now, friends, that I've done two teaching sentences, you can of course do more than that. I'm going to close this out with my closing sentence. It's just like when I'm planning my paragraph across my fingers. My topic sentence comes first, then I've got 2 or 3 teaching sentences in the middle, then my closing sentence is at the end, telling my reader, oh hey, I taught you about worms' enemies, now I'm done. So, my closing sentence can sound like this. Now you know all about worms' enemies. You'll notice it sounds very much like our topic sentence. So I'm going to draw my lines to help me write that sentence. Now you know. Notice how I'm leaving good space between my words. All about, I ran out of room, so I'm coming to my next line. Worms' enemies. And what goes at the end, friends? If you said period, kiss your brain. Now, we've written this sentence, or something close to this sentence, about 100 million times. So some of these words are starting to become familiar to me. I can write them more fluently or quickly without having to think about it. I know how to write the word now. N, uppercase N, because this is the beginning of my sentence. Now, you, Y-O-U spells you, know, K-N-O-W. If you didn't know how to spell know, just stretch out the sounds you hear and write them down. Now you know all. Oh, I've got the word all in my topic sentence. Snag it. About. It's in my topic sentence, friends. Just grab it. Now you know all about worms' enemies. Oh, worms' enemies is right up in my topic sentence. Just grab it. Worms' enemies. Remember that this apostrophe is telling us the enemies belong to the worms' enemies. I just wrote a closing sentence, and what did that take me? 30 seconds? It's becoming easier, isn't it, friends, now that we've done this many times? Now that we're done with our closing sentence, let's go back and reread our entire paragraph to make sure it sounds right and makes sense. Here we go. I will teach you all about worms' enemies. One fact is that moles are worms' biggest enemy. Another fact is that moles eat 30 worms a day. Now you know all about worms' enemies. Now my reader knows, oh, that's it. That's the entire paragraph. They taught me what they know about worms' enemies, one of which is a mole. So friends, your job is this. You are going to go back in to your paragraph. You are going to write yourself a nice little closing sentence. And then if you have your writing checklist, if you don't, you're going to get one in your next ELA spiral. Don't worry about it. You can go back and check to make sure, did I use a capital or uppercase letter at the beginning of a sentence? If I did, guess what I'm going to give it? A nice little check. But do I just give it a check because I feel like it? No, you got to check. Uppercase letter at the beginning of my sentence. That's a period, so I know it's a new sentence is coming. Uppercase letter at the beginning of my sentence. That's a period, so I know a new sentence is coming. Uppercase letter at the beginning of my sentence. That's at some other punctuation, an exclamation point, so I know a new sentence is coming. Uppercase letter in my last sentence. So yes, I used capital or uppercase letters. Did I use finger spaces? Oh, I certainly did. I even put my fingers between my words in my topic sentence, and then I left nice finger spaces in the rest. Yep. Check. Did I draw helpful pictures? Well, if you drew a teaching picture that's not only realistically colored, but is also labeled, then yes, you absolutely drew helpful pictures. Did I write the sounds I heard? Yes, I did. When I got to the word moles, I said moles, moles, and I wrote down all of the sounds I heard. Yes. And did I use ending punctuation, periods, exclamation points, or question marks where appropriate? Let's see, at the end of my first sentence, period. I will teach you all about worms' enemies, period. One fact is that moles are worms' biggest enemy, period. Another fact is that moles eat 30 worms a day, exclamation point, which is kind of serving like my period to tell my reader my sentence is over. Now you know all about worms' enemies, period. Yes. If you can make all these checks in these boxes, then your writing is easy to read and you are good to go and you can start writing yourself another informative paragraph if you got some time. So go ahead, friends, and write your closing sentence and then check your work.